Around 25,000 officers have been medically discharged from the armed forces since 2001, with 1,932 in the last year alone. Who are the hidden heroes that support these injured service personnel on their road to recovery?
I'm Senior Housing Officer for Fisher House. I've worked here since it opened in 2013. Day to day in this house can change rapidly. You will find that you may have several families coming in. Our day starts at 7 o'clock in the morning and we finish a shift at 3 o'clock, and then another shift would start at 1 o'clock and finish at 9 o'clock at night. Basically, part and parcel of the families coming in, what we'd do is we'd have the families brought to us from DMWS, Defence Medical Welfare Service, and then we would actually take the family round the house, give them a tour, get them to fill in paperwork, settle them down in their rooms, and then they would be handed back to Defence Medical Welfare Service and they would go to the hospital to visit whoever. So support network from the staff here at Fisher House, from our perspective, is the fact that we will guide them in reference to making sure they're eating properly, that they've got every support network that should be involved with them. Say if they needed to go to the doctors, we'd sort that out for them, mainly working with Defence Medical Welfare Service and doing that. So it's all about support. It's not about caring, it's not about nursing, it's about support for them. So whatever their needs may be in supporting, that's what we would actually do. And we'd also signpost them to other agencies.
A day in the life for me is where I have to make sure that I interact with the military guys, which is up at the hospital, which is called RCDM, which is the Royal Centre for Defence Medicine, and we have brief meetings in the morning in regards to all patients and their families. If there are any issues, then I will do my ward rounds, go around every single patient that I have to make sure they're okay, and it gives them a chance as well to have a chat with me if they've got any issues or there's anything that they can't talk to their families about, or the unit or anything like that. So it's a free space for them to be able to discuss whatever's going on with them. Also to make sure they've got everything that they need. If there's any issues with the medical care or any of the medical terminology, if you know what's going on, I will then reiterate that across to them. Make sure as well we've got incoming in patients, it depends, because they come at any time of the day or night. Arrange for the families to be here as well when the patient comes to the QE. Make sure they've got accommodation here, Fisher House, and then to escort them onto whatever ward. If it's a normal ward, we're allowed to just escort them on, but we just have to make sure the ward staff know. But if it's critical care, we have to liaise with the critical care team, because the environment that they're going into, not most people will understand what they're going to be seeing. Depends on the cause of the injury. We have to make sure that the family are aware of what they're going to be walking into, from the smells to the sounds and to what, it could be a blast injury to a gunshot wound. It depends on what, or a burn. So we have to get them mentally prepared of what they're going to see when they see their loved one. So yeah.
What happens out on the battlefield is scarring for most and can be the cause to other issues. Firstly, we meet David Watson, who is a triple amputee. David speaks to us about his experiences of being in the army and what life was like.
What made me join the army? I was an active person. I didn't feel the thing of office jobs and stuff like that, sat behind the desk. I was an active guy, I wanted to do stuff, so I thought the army is the best place for me. I'm glad I joined. I got to see part of the world for free. Do you know what I mean? Just travelling the world, doing stuff, training, and to serve my Queen and country was just the best thing I could ever do. On the 27th of May 2010, we were on a routine foot patrol. There were 53 of us, and I was the third to last man, so I was the 50th guy. We were getting into a stream, and I passed the IED, and my mate slipped behind me. So I've turned around to go and help him, and as I've turned around, I've stepped on it, and it's from then, because I had a big gun in my hand, the guns hit me in the face, broke my jaw, broke most of my teeth, and then I landed back into the water. So I were underwater, I was drowning, my life flashed before my eyes, everything. I tried to get my head above water, but I couldn't. The guys ran over, dragged me out of the water, sat me on the side, sorted me out, The first guy come up to me, checked my wounds, the medic come over, tourniquets, and they were saying, "Don't look down." So I'm like, "What do you mean, don't look down?" So me being me, I just looked down to have a look what had happened. And I looked down and my legs had gone. But when I looked down, the only thing that were left were my knee bones and my shin bones. And then from there, the medic were tightening the tourniquets and my shin bones shut off as well. So from there, and because of infection risk, they took me above the knee. So that's what my injury is, both legs above the knee. And my right arm, as they were doing that, I felt pins and needles. So I've lifted my arm and the bones are broke and everything like that, and my arm was just being held on by its tendons. The skin had separated from the bone, so it was just there dangling. So I knew I'd lost my arm. When I got discharged from the military, the sockets wasn't really working for me. It was breaking my scar tissue down, so every time I took my legs off, there was blood everywhere. And then I'd have to be off my legs for 4 weeks, going around in a wheelchair. Didn't like it. And then once that healed, I put my legs back on, it'd happen again. So I just binned it. And me and my wife found an operation over in Australia. It's called osseointegration. So we did 12 months research into that, like looking at the things what could happen and everything like that. And I thought, well, this is my last chance to get up and walking and do the things, get back to doing the things I could do. So we went for it. And what it is, it's a metal rod what goes into my femur, and now the bone's grown around that metal rod, so it's stable. Literally sticks out my leg about 2 inches, so my leg just connects to that. Put my leg on, tighten it with an Allen key, and that's me up and walking. Fisher House has helped my family. While I was in hospital, my family stayed here, so if anything happened, they were there straight away. And for me as well, I could leave the hospital when I was well enough to come and sit in here with my family and just have a day out of the hospital. If you didn't want to speak to your family about certain things, you could speak to the welfare, because they were like a family member to you.
David is one of many soldiers that have to go through such hardship after returning from war. Fisher House also offer mental and emotional support to soldiers.
Fisher House, we're based here and we've got an office up at the hospital as well. We're here because we can be here straight away for the families. So if the families have a meltdown, we're here. We can then make sure that no other family members are going to get brought into it. It's private. We can liaise with how many family members are here. We can liaise with who's stopping here, because they've got to come to us first. They've got to come to me before we allow anybody in. So I make sure who's allowed to come in. And also just to keep an eye on the families, because they sometimes as well don't feel they've got a safe place to be. They can come to us straight away and say, you know what, can I have a talk, please? I'm not happy with this. Or they can have a cry. They can say, you know what, this is scary, and I need somebody to speak to.
I've got lads who I know over in different countries who work with the military, and not a lot of them know about Fisher House. So I think it needs to get out there and more people think about it. But the job they do is absolutely fantastic.
There's so many people that actually put an input into veterans and into serving personnel for injuries or if they've been ill. And to be quite honest, I think it's a case of that there is a lot of scope out there. There are a lot of people that know who and what people are doing. But it could probably, the awareness be raised a bit more, and I think the recognition of veterans, especially the younger veterans from the Afghan war, I think they need to be more sort of like brought to the foremost, because they are going to have really serious ongoing things for the next 30, 40 years. People think that once they've come out of hospital and they've gone home, that's it, end of, but they don't see the bigger picture and the future, that these people will need more support, and the older they get, the harder it will become. Sometimes you wish that you were a fairy godmother and just wave a magic wand, but that's not always possible, but just to be there and just to listen to them. So.